Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Green Roof podcast, it's a bunch of young, innovative people. I mean, when they're starting off with everything, when you're starting off with a business, you're starting off with like an idea. You want to have that first like mindset to do something. And I feel like, Nelson, he's pretty much building that framework to kind of make things great, honestly, especially in Carbondale, SIU, wherever you're at.
Yeah, they're pretty much just leading by example. You know, once you see a group of entrepreneurs and people doing good things, you kind of follow the lead and just like to see what they're doing. So they're doing pretty well. That's why we joined them, and we're going to continue to support them.
Welcome to another episode of Young Entrepreneurs with the Green Roof team. Today we have special guests from H&F Visions.
Yeah. H&F Visions, man. We first started out in Milwaukee, now we're trying to expand.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, would you guys like to introduce yourself to the audience?
All right, so my name is Drew Francis from Skokie, Illinois. Went to Wisconsin Platteville, studied industrial technology management there, minored in industrial control systems, and studied entrepreneurship there as well. And yeah, just been trying to go hard with the business and just keep grinding.
And then my name's Derek. Also went to Platteville, same major, industrial technology management with industrial controls minor. Just trying to keep grinding. Just recently got a job, so trying to do entrepreneur work on the side, and then focus on my main job as well, with the goal of eliminating that in the future. So it's going pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna begin the episode off a bit easy. So I know, Andrew, we met in high school.
Yeah.
How did the two of you guys meet at Platteville?
So
Yeah, you good.
So we pretty much we started off like in the mindset of like football. So Platteville's a D3 college. It's in the WIAC conference, and essentially it's pretty much one of the top D3 conferences in the nation. And I tried out for the team, and we pretty much met there. He was in the same like vicinity, the same circle. So that's where we first met, just on the football team. And then our dorms were pretty much right next to each other, so all the guys that were in that same area, we just hung out together, ate together, played football together. So that's really where it started, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Once we got into our later years in college, we kind of just the entrepreneurial set always was like in my mind frame, but once I got closer to graduation, it kind of just kicked in even more. So that's how that kind of kicked off. Like you said, we hung around the same people. And it's like we just so happened to like, his family lives down the street from me, and it just so happened to like work like that. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's how it happened. So
Awesome. Then you both are from Skokie?
I'm actually from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah,
Mhm.
Milwaukee area. So
I got a lot of family in Milwaukee. So like during breaks and stuff like that, we realized that my family lives like 5 minutes away. So well,
yeah.
small world, honestly. But
That's awesome. And I know, like, small world, that's kind of like how our team formed up. Like, we just kept taking people, and then we all, and it's like, oh, I know that person too. Don't know how from halfway across the country, but
yeah,
it works out and just build a bond.
True.
That's good.
So, transitioning from football to entrepreneurship, was there like a clear-cut like aha moment, or was it kind of like just came from internal and it built over time?
For me, it was kind of like I wouldn't say an aha moment, but it's definitely a different type of, what's the word for it? A different type of direction you have to go in. You kind of have to like change your mindset, because you're not going to grow your business if you don't do anything, because it's not just going to come to you. So I guess with football, it's always been instilled to kind of just work hard. So the transition it was kind of easy. Like now, sometimes I can't say on my part, there's things that, you're going to slack somewhere, but obviously when you're working with a partner, like with this being our first business venture, it's kind of easy to like, pick up where that person's left off on, or encourage your partner to try to, get to a common goal. So.
Mm-hmm. And then I kind of want to expand on that too. It's like when you're playing a sport, you're always in the mindset of, okay, you got to train, you got to watch film, you got to perform when you're in the game. And then it's the same thing in entrepreneurship. You got to put in the work, you got to do the research. You actually have to go out there. If you're selling something, you got to sell something. And then what separates, a side hustle from a business has like different systems in place. So like when we first started off, that was like our main thing. We were just kind of hustling, trying to get ATM contracts, trying to get merchant services contracts, trying to expand the business. But then all of a sudden you have to put different systems in place because you might not be the best salesperson, you might not be the best social media marketer, but you can hire different people to run that thing for you, or you can delegate those tasks to different people. So it's
I'm sorry. And then that's kind of what we're doing now, just to kind of piggyback. Like we're trying to, outsource like cold callers, so that obviously with work and the time of day that we get, our time zone, say if we're calling in different states, it's kind of late where we're calling, so we kind of don't get that freedom of, we usually probably only get like the weekends if we want to call them between that early time frame. So like I said, just outsourcing, just different tasks just to automate our business to make it easier for us, which would be good in the long run. So
Kind of like a football team, everyone is like specialized in their position and they are the best at what they do.
True.
Yeah.
So like that's like something where we're trying to like focus in on and key in on, because like we both have like that visionary mindset where we see where we want to be, but it's not like we weren't the best salesmen in the beginning. We didn't know exactly what to say, what the benefits were of like an ATM or a point of sale system. But that's where you have to find like different mentors or different people who actually know those specific things are key in that. Your kicker is not going to be your quarterback, or your lineman's not going to be your linebacker. Like, you have to make sure you delegate those tasks, because that's what's going to make a good team. So,
yeah, we've been learning along the way. Like our first location, like say on the install, there's problems with the install, and just for social media hacks, we just been learning along the way, and that's what entrepreneurship is, just learning. So it's gotten easier, but it'll get even more easier as we continue to scale.
True.
So have you guys found any hidden talents from anyone? Maybe have like a linebacker play running back here and there?
I mean, as far as like the business goes, I mean, you want to improve as far as like social media content, just to when you're reaching out to your target audience, or it could just be just informing the public on what you do, because that's like one of the main things. So social media marketing, I mean, we're not the best at it, but we're improving on it. We're reaching out to different people who are. And then as far as like coexisting with like being a CEO, running the business, that's what we're trying to focus on. That's where I feel like we can improve on. But as far as like hidden talents in between the two, what do you kind of think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, I guess, as far as like, again, just talking about the social media, it's not a lot of people. Like, you have your top gurus, but you don't see a lot of people who are kind of like at the bottom, starting an ATM business, putting a lot of content out, especially with us being young and stuff like that. I feel like that'd be that's a great area for us to focus on, because we get a lot of like, sometimes like one day I was walking down the street and a kid in my neighborhood who I hadn't talked to in a while came up to me and was like, I saw your ad or your video. I'm like, wow. So it's kind of, with us just being young, getting that voice out especially is so easy. Like TikTok, Instagram, so easy to put out content, and you have a multitude of people seeing that every day. So that'd be big for us, and that'll only allow us to, constantly get more referrals and different people asking us how to get started, and that can allow us to help other people and also monetize that in a way. So
definitely a lot of hearing that, being innovative, challenging the process, thinking about outside the box thinking, and just using those tools to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's the same thing with their business. I mean, your main goal is to impact students at like an innovative standpoint. Sustainability, it needs to happen. Even with like electric vehicles, that's sustainability in a way, because that's what President Biden, he's obviously pushing for, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you don't really realize it, but many people are like impacted from what you're doing. So you're doing some good stuff, man.
Thank you. I know everything that we're doing right now is all focused on that student level, but we see that greater impact. We see people in even like Europe. We made friends in Netherlands, Germany mainly, but we see people out there talking to us and being
That's
like,
crazy.
oh, yeah, we know what you guys are doing.
Okay.
And that's actually a good segue. I actually have a... Cut that sound out. Actually, we have here today the Change Forward journal from the University Innovation Fellows, and this will be a short episode we'll have in the future where we hear about one story in particular, our story, that made it into the article, journal, focused on inspiring others by forging your own path. And this is a journal published by Stanford University focused on telling the stories of the different fellows in the program from America to South America, Europe, Japan, Asia, and just focused on telling our stories. So we will have a short episode in the future, next week coming out on the content of this article.
Go watch that, guys.
Go watch that. For real. It's growing.
Yeah, okay. So transitioning into more about what's happening in Carbondale, from your guys' eyes and perspectives, I know, Andrew, you were with us last year.
Mhm.
What do you guys see being the impact from your perspectives?
So honestly, I think from like the engineering standpoint, if someone doesn't have like any experience with like innovation or just building things or just design in general, being involved in like something like the green roof, that can help them give them like some hands-on experience. Like that's essentially what you need to get the ball rolling when you're thinking of like engineering, technology, just having an idea and then making it into a reality.
Yeah,
So,
and especially for like younger people too who want to pursue an engineering degree. Like when I was growing up, I always had, it's crazy, like when I was younger, like maybe like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, I wrote in a journal that I wanted to be an engineer. I didn't know what type of engineer I wanted to be, but you know, through growing, like it took growing through college to figure out what I wanted to be. But I feel like if I would have had something that I can look up to try to, you know, figure out what different pathway I wanted to go and be around other individuals, because you all have like different majors and whatnot. So, you know, with younger people, they can figure out, okay, Nelson does this guy does this. You know, can just talk and collaborate with each other. So I think that's pretty good what you guys are doing that way.
And that was one key feature of our team, was being interdisciplinary. So I know myself, I'm mechanical and the project manager side, then we have folks who are aerospace, folks who are electrical, and that goes back to like the football team, like you build up a team and you have all the different sides. You can't have a team of just all mechanicals.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it allows a lot of
Not gonna
different
work.
viewpoints, you know, to just different mindsets and different ideas to come along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it's key that you mention that, because you know, a design engineer, mechanical engineer, they'll design the whole thing, but you might need, you know, a manufacturing engineer or like someone with like a engineering technology background to say like, okay, is this actually feasible to do? What will actually, if you want it to be like a high production volume thing, if you're making turbines, well, can you actually build a certain amount in a certain amount of time? Is it actually feasible to build? So that's like the main thing with that, having a team to determine that type of stuff.
Sure. Project manager also,
Yeah.
figuring out where to source the materials from and things like that, getting costs together. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely know our biggest challenge this year that we're focused on solving is manufacturing the blades low cost.
Mhm.
Because usually wind turbine blade, small ones, it's much more feasible to do something like mode, injection, casting, where you have a super expensive cast and just keep on grinding them out. But if you're making a single set, that's going to be a pretty high initial cost and not a great benefit.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're expensive.
And then from all of our work this year, we're actually focused on finding what our next step is and reaching out and making that impact larger.
Okay.
So do you guys have any thoughts or ideas on how you can see what we're doing now and expanding out?
Honestly,
Maybe the youth.
yeah, maybe. I like what you guys are doing as far as social media, because like that's going to be the biggest avenue.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess maybe like, you know, the youth, I wouldn't say focus on them more, because you know, obviously you can focus on everybody, but you know, I guess start maybe short educational clips, or maybe, you know, for me, I like watching, if you ever watch on YouTube, I don't know how the production goes to making it, but like the people who have like animated drawings. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Just that really for some reason just catches my eye. So that could be another social media tactic for especially younger people trying to pursue an engineering degree or just want to be included in some type of engineering environment. So it's something that I can think of off the top of my head.
Because I mentioned the youth because it could be some type of like bridge program from like high school to college, where you guys are giving more insight on like manufacturing or design, and they're learning that in the back end because you're designing the turbine yourselves, you're manufacturing, it could be sales as well because you have to pitch yourself to different like investors, so it could give like more light and insight into like what type of majors there are out there, because not every single person's an engineer, not every person is like a finance major or whatever, but you guys can give that insight if you're in like the high schools.
True. Yeah, have you guys went to high schools yet or tried to get in front of students to teach?
We are this semester and this year, so
Okay.
we received a grant from Carbondale to go and talk to the local high school, middle schools about solar and
Okay.
wind technology.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's some big stuff right there.
Yeah, because when you think about sustainability as a whole, there's the typical model is a three-pillar one, where you focus on the economic side, the social side, and environmental. So everything that we've been doing so far has been more focused on the environmental and the social if you include education into there. But now, this year with the solar installation, we're grabbing onto the economic side and growing bigger on the social side by going to the schools. So that way we hit all three pillars.
Okay. Okay.
That'd be nice. Kids will get a broader understanding of what I guess engineering is as a whole, and really to be included in an engineer, like you said, you got project managers. You don't need to be an engineer exactly to be included in that type of environment. Like you said, you can be a project manager, but you're talking to engineers, and if you're a person that likes to be in control or likes to run projects, that'd be good for a person just to know, because they have project engineers as well. So
Yeah. And even like the quality aspect of it, like I know you're a quality engineer, like if you're real nitty gritty on like what the dimensions are or how something has to be fit together, that could be something that you can look at too as far as like what career paths are out there. So
There's a lot of opportunities out there.
yeah.
it's a lot.
Just gotta decide on which one we're gonna pursue and put everything into it.
Yeah, early exposure help with that as well too.
And then one last thought, so in Southern Illinois, they do have a not as rigorous educational program. They don't focus on something like math, which is why there's less engineering students coming out of the Southern Illinois area.
Okay.
Actually, I have a few friends from outside St. Louis on the Illinois side, and they wanted to be engineers and they tried, but once calculus being becoming too intense, they began switching their majors.
Yeah, that happens. It can be, those weed out classes can definitely get you, but
Yeah, it's about Platteville. So there's our major is called Industrial Technology Management, but it's really like engineering technology.
Yeah.
And most of the people who are in that major, they started off as like mechanical or like electrical. They couldn't pass those classes that like kind of weed you out, so they call it I tried math instead of like industrial technology management. They'll say like I tried math, I tried mechanical, stuff like that. So it's true. You'll see a lot of weed outs in that.
And we're back. So, would you guys like to dive into H&F Visions? Tell the audience about what it is and myself?
Yeah, so we started H&F Visions, I think back in, was like November? sometime?
November.
Yeah, we started in November. We got our LLC in November. It was kind of just, just going back to previously what we said. Entrepreneurship has always, been in our heads. So I think one day we just, I'm always on Google just typing in ways of how to make money. So I think I might have typed it in one day and came across the ATM business. He might have typed it in one day. We kept seeing it. Then I'm like, man, we're finna graduate. All right, let's just do it. And we literally, there wasn't really any hesitation with it. We kind of, he happened to find a good mentor that we talk to every day. So we end up joining a group, talking to them, and it was really, we did our research first because obviously before you get into any industry, you want to do your research, see how much capital you need, different risks involved because, every industry, there's different type of risk, downturns and things like that. So we did all that, and, we weighed our risk reward, and that's how we kind of just jumped into the ATM industry.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, when you first start off, like when you mentioned mentors and stuff like that, you want to do your due diligence on that. People who claim to be gurus or mentors, you want to see if they have the facts to back that up.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's like one thing too. If you're getting started in something, just make sure you have like someone who is knowledgeable about that industry, because then it'll kind of ease the bumps and the challenges throughout that process. So.
Yeah, because the mentor we have, I literally can, you can call him at any one point in time, and he's quick. Like, one day I met for a business owner, and I think it was our first deal actually, and just trying to figure out how to structure it. And he literally told me, this is what you can do, and we ended up signing the contract. So it's always good to just to have a mentor that you can just call, and that's willing to help you, and just to also give you the facts as well, and to back it up. You just don't want to pick anybody to be a mentor.
So how do you go about finding a mentor?
Honestly, so YouTube is one way to do it, but some of the times when you have like YouTube gurus or people who claim to be experts at an industry, they'll honestly try to finesse you. I'm not gonna lie to you. They'll honestly try to finesse you.
And they're hard to contact.
Yeah.
Because they're so big. They're not just a lot of big I guess ATM gurus or people. They're in a lot of different other businesses, so they have a team to run their stuff. So you don't get direct access to them. With our mentors, they really have direct like phone numbers. You can talk to them.
Like message on Facebook, like.
So.
If you can call them, and they can answer all your questions, that's a good mentor.
Yeah.
So definitely do your research on that. But you can go to YouTube, Facebook, Google, and then not necessarily say like if you're looking for an ATM mentor, you don't have to put in ATM mentor, but you can just put in like ATM business or ATM in your area, and then usually a processor will come up. Yeah. If you contact the processor, you might get the actual owner.
Yeah, so that's a good way. Just using social media websites. Facebook is a good one. You can join a lot of different groups on Facebook that can get you started. There's a lot of groups out there that are have a lot of good people in it. And you also can talk to other individuals that are in the business, and that's how you also build your connections as well.
So with ATMs, is the market large? Is there a lot of competition out there right now?
There's infrastructure being built every day. So every person in this world has a business idea, and they're gonna bring that business idea to life. So obviously for us, we like to target high traffic locations and businesses that have a need for cash. So bars, nail salons are a big one. Dispensaries, liquor stores, laundromats. So there's a lot of different businesses that we try to go for, and there's a lot of infrastructure being built. But you definitely have those top competitors or people in the market, but I wouldn't say it's too saturated because, like I said, there's businesses being built every day. And there's people, starting new ideas every day that are going to need cash no matter what. So it's pretty. I wouldn't say it's too.
Because it's been around so long, the ATM business in general. So since it's been around so long, you could see how some markets could be saturated, but like you said, there's different restaurants that's being built.
Yeah.
There's different bars that's being built, casinos, slot gaming cafes, like stuff like that. So I mean, you have to do your due diligence on like, is this location good? Is it a high amount of foot traffic? Is there actual need for cash there? Yeah. Like it could be a restaurant that's just opened up, high traffic, but if there's not really a need for cash at that restaurant, if they're not selling liquor or they don't have some type of like gaming there, it might not be particularly a good location.
And I would say for like I guess as far as getting like bigger chains, those are the hardest to get into because obviously the big competitors already have contracts in place. So our bread and butter is kind of like small business owners, but as you continue to grow your network, those small business owners may know other bigger chains that you just never know. You just may happen to get a referral with a location, say maybe a bar that has maybe 10 other locations across the states, or just in particular in one particular state. So, if you continue to grow your network, you'll definitely get those, or eventually start getting those bigger household names per se.
True. And like, just because you have a location, that doesn't mean you'll get the referrals. You have to actually like service the location properly. If someone is there and they can't get their money out, there's a bill jam, are you available to readily go there and like actually service it? So that's a key thing when we talk about referrals, like actually providing value for the business owner and the customers that use the ATM. So
Yeah. So we recently, funny story, we actually it's a restaurant that we have. The previous owner just left his machine there, and we were able to come in
Yeah.
and just take over the location, and it's actually been doing pretty good. So a lot of times, it's crazy to think, but a lot of times there's great locations, but the previous owner just neglects the machine, and you just never know. You should always, early on, if somebody had an ATM, we just said, oh, they have an ATM and pass it up, but you never know if you don't go in. That location or ATM may be out of service at the moment, and that owner is probably desperate to get a new machine in there, or he just doesn't like the person who's operating the machine, and it just, takes you to just go up in there and see, what's actually going on with that machine. So that's what you always want to do.
So having good relationships with the owner.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of our mentors
Very
actually,
key.
most of their, cause like I said, you don't see a lot of people advertising their ATM business simply because of their risk. You're handling cash and things like that, but a lot of the older people who have been in it, they grew their business off of referrals. But now with social media, we can kind of do both.
So backtracking a tad bit, so when you guys were describing setting up the business, it sounded kind of like a business model canvas. Is that something you guys know about and done in some fashion?
So with the business model canvas, it's definitely key when you have like a brand new idea. But with the ATM business, we didn't really need it because we had a mentor to kind of walk us through the steps of it. But as far as like the ATM business, it's not extremely complicated to get into.
Yeah, it's not extremely yeah.
Like when you first start off, you'll need like a legal representation. So like an LLC, limited liability company. You can set that up. That's usually around $130 or so, depending on your state.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the first thing that you'll need. You'll need a business bank account. Once you get the business bank account, you'll pretty much have to call different corporations in your like area, and then once you do that, you have to just verify that they'll allow for ATM business bank accounts. So like that's probably one of the hardest steps. To be honest.
Since it's so high risk, a lot of banks. It took us a while. You just have to be persistent with it, but a lot of banks, it's just so high risk. They don't allow for individual ATM owners to get business bank accounts. And then just going back to the LLC, we actually got that waived because we were in school, so we got like an entrepreneurship in Wisconsin. They waived the fee for entrepreneurs, so that's the incentive that you get. I don't know. I think that's pretty much for every LLC that you try to create. As long as you're in school and can validate it, then you get an entrepreneurship a waive. You get the fee waived. Being an entrepreneur in school.
Sure. And like you can check that if you just go to your like state secretary, state office. So I mean, it's all this stuff is online. You know what I mean? But you can contact different mentors. You can contact us, whatever it may be. And it's like, if you need help setting up a business, that's not something that we would charge for. It's literally just doing the research. And
Simple, yeah.
So for the finance side, could you talk a bit about the business bank account and how that's different than just a regular checking account, perhaps?
So I mean, you'll need a business bank account because that's how like the money recycles. So just like an ATM machine, or just like a vending machine, if you buy a bag of Cheetos from a vending machine, you're gonna get charged for that. Well, if you take out money out of an ATM machine, you're gonna get charged for that. But if you just sell your money, well then you're only getting $3 back if that's what you're charging, and you're losing $20. So the the idea of the business bank account is for it to recycle back into your account. So now it's all you have to do is go to your business bank account, withdraw, let's say $1,000, and then you put that into your machine. So that's the idea of it. You want it to recycle back into your account. So anytime someone withdraws money from your account, then you get paid for it. That's the idea, really.
Yeah, and it's real simple. You know, the money, you're just making money off money essentially. So that's really the basis of it. Pretty much, I guess, going from, you know, the business bank account, once you get that set up, you just want to go on Google and, you know, find, like, anywhere you may, like I said, you can go on any type of social media. Maybe Instagram would be your best bet, or Facebook, and then obviously your different type of search engines to find different processors. So you can type in ATM processors. These are the people that are going to handle, like, getting the ATM for you, and then also handling your back office information, and then programming the ATM for you. So you always want to make sure that you, well, I guess for us, working with a small processor is pretty good because you have them hands-on. You know, bigger corporations, you really can, like, if something goes wrong with your machine, you have to get put on hold, or maybe on a weekend, you just can't contact them. So when your machine's down, that's lost money. So working with a small processor that's very reputable and very trustworthy is a pretty good option, or thing that we will recommend to work with, because they're always hands-on.
So from the bank institution side, what are some factors you want to look for when choosing which bank to work with and set up the account with?
So I think that's really similar to, like, the processor, honestly. Like, you want a good business bank account, you want a good business in general just to be reputable, so people know of them, they have good history, and then customer service as well. So, you know, if you call customer service 9 times out of 10, you know, it could be something where you're waiting 10-20 minutes before you're actually being served. So that's another thing, you know, how responsive are they? And then the withdrawal limits as well. So, like, not every bank has the same withdrawal limit. So, like, it could be TCF Bank, for example, it could be you can only withdraw 8,000 at a time at a particular branch. Whereas, like, maybe if you go to US Bank or another bank, it could be 6,000 at a time. So definitely you got to do your research on, like, how much you can withdraw at a bank.
And then some banks charge, like, a service fee. So, like, say for the particular bank that we work with, it's a $10 maintenance fee. But if you have $2,500 within that, you know, 1 month billing cycle, that $10 is waived. So a lot of banks do it for business bank accounts. A lot of banks don't. It's really not a big deal, especially, say, like, for us, our bank is very good with, you know, communicating. They always have the money or the cash that we need to vault our machines. We can take out decent limits. So, like, as far as, like, 8,000, you know, we don't have to take out that full amount that particular day. We can just chop it up and things like that. And even if we needed to take out more, we would just simply call them and say, hey, we're coming in this day, we need this much amount of money, and they're able to always do that for us. So having that maintenance fee isn't really a big deal, because you're going to make that, we're going to make that back in 2 or 3 transactions. So it's just $10 out the whole month. But obviously, like I said, once you get to a $2,500 minimum within your account, then that fee is waived. So
Sure. So that's another thing too, just making sure you check up on what they're actually charging you. That's very key. You don't want to go into a situation where you're just being charged and you don't know why they're taking money from you. So
Cool. So on the journey of setting up business to where you are right now, did you see a point where it's like you can begin just being focused on the long-term plan, then try and set everything up and go over that hump?
So I guess right now, yeah, we're just focused on a long-term plan. I think you mentioned earlier about the cost or the capital needed. You can use funding. So a lot of, like, our early on, you know, say, like, our first 2 machines we did buy outright. But now, since we're earning a decent amount of money on those machines, we have access to business credit, which is a very good tool to utilize. Our bank gave us a great limit once we opened, and within 6 months, you can always increase your limit. So just leveraging that and try to look for maybe interest-free credit cards. So we got a good interest-free credit card for a particular period, and we were able to order 2 or 3 machines at a time. And now the machines that we have are just paying off. We'll use that money just to pay off our monthly payment every month. So we're not really focused on like if we wanted to, we can take profits now, but obviously we have a long-term goal set in mind. So
True. So like when you're talking about like scaling or the long-term plan of everything, it's just offering more services. So that's another thing that we wanted to do as well. So when we're thinking of long-term, many people think, okay, cash might be obsolete in the future, but to combat that or hedge that, that's when we jumped into merchant services. So that's another thing too, doing your due diligence to partner with different companies. So merchant services is pretty much credit card payments or card payments. If you go to Subway and you pay with your card, there's a processing fee with that. That's where merchant services comes into play. So there's many different ISOs, agents that are making a killing just off of like being a gateway to payments, accepting payments. So that's another way that we can, as far as focusing on long term, focusing on ATMs and then merchant services.
So if they don't want an ATM, they may not like their processor that they're working with now, we can offer them credit card processing as well. So that's another component of our business that we added, and then just trying to think of other different ways, to add to our business or add value to our customers as well.
That's true. Yeah. Many different ways to scale, man.
I guess if you're a young entrepreneur or just looking to get into any type of industry, I would just say go for it. You get a lot of times where people say they want to do something and they just put it on hold. The more time you wait, the more I guess you're missing out on what you could have been doing previously. So even if you have, friends, family, they say don't do business with family, but if you have a trustworthy family member that you can trust and do business with, that's a easy way to just learn how entrepreneurship works. Like I said, this is our first business venture, so we're just learning along the way. If I want to start another company down the road, all right, I understand how social media works and things like that. So if you're an entrepreneur, I would just say go for it. Don't keep waiting, especially if you have somebody with the same mindset as you. You guys can just work together and grow your business that way. It'll definitely work out for you.
And with that, we conclude our episode of Young Entrepreneurs with the Green Roof team. Special thanks to your sponsors, the SIU Research Park, Energy at SIU Sustainability Office's Green Fund Grant, the University Innovation Fellows, CH Electrical, Enertech, Raz Coatings, AES Solar, Sprague Supply Group, H&F Visions, Silvix Forestry and Nursery, Nether Chance Studios, Climate Economy Action Network, and many more. And please visit our website for more information and follow us on social media. Stay sustainable, folks.